Welcome to Profit Zen, right here on Oneness Talk Radio. I am Lee Munch, and you are about to take a step down your own path to your Profit Zen. Entrepreneurs hire me to achieve the state of business bliss because most are uncomfortable around money, they work so hard with so little to show, and they seem to be spinning their wheels. So I show them how to make peace with their numbers, embrace their focus, and get them on their very own path to Profit Zen. Do you know what that means? That means they have more money, more free time, with less stress and less effort than they ever thought possible. And they get to make a greater impact. So if that sounds like you, then you are in the right place. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. And if it's Monday and it's 1 p.m. Pacific, you're listening to me live. So that means you can go ahead and call in at 517-20. Hi there and welcome. Welcome to Oneness Talk Radio. It is now 1 p.m. Pacific on Monday, and you are listening to Profit Zen Live with Lee Munch. So happy you're here, and let us begin. I had a little bit of technical difficulty, and I hope everyone is. So how is everyone today? It is Columbus Day here in the U.S. Yeah. It's Columbus Day here in the U.S., October 14th, 2019, and it's Thanksgiving Day up in Canada. So I wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, and those of you who are enjoying this, well, it's here on Long Island in New York. It is a beautiful, beautiful day in the 70s. So, it's really beautiful day today. I hope that you're enjoying the weather where you are too. So here we are. Apologies for that. So apologies for the technical difficulty here, and you might have gotten a stop and a restart and everything else, but we are back and we are live, and we are just going to start on over. So this is the theme. The thing that we're talking about this month is called finishing strong. And wow, if there's not a time for us to want to finish strong, would it or would it not be now? Right? I mean, it seems like I can invite you and I can suggest, but on the other hand, going with the theme, if you're listening to some of the other shows here on Oneness Talk Radio, it's like, if not now, when? If not you, who? And the energies of October are so massive, as I'm sure you're feeling. If you're listening to the show here on Oneness Talk Radio, I'm sure that you understand the power of these energies of October and how strong they are. And here we are today. It's the 14th, but we are in the full moon energy that started yesterday. So we're in the beginning of the shadow period of Mercury retrograde, the last one of the year. Well, finishing strong kind of is about revisiting and reassessing and rewriting and reading. And so it's a perfect time to be talking about finish strong. So what we've done so far, bear with me, I'm still kind of getting my stuff together. So what we've been doing, we started the conversation on 2 weeks ago about finishing strong, and what does finishing strong mean to you, and what does it mean, and if you could finish strong, how will that impact your life, how will it impact those that you're serving in your business, and all these and all that aspect of it. And then last week we talked about what would be the one thing. What is the one thing that if you could have, this is your finishing strong, this one thing that'll make the biggest impact on you, on your business, on you, and therefore your life, So that's what we spoke about last week. So this week we're kind of going, what do I want to say, like off the cuff, because I just, I've had a very interesting month of October. And yes, I have definitely had my own dark night. And, when you have a business and you're a business owner, whether it's a person, it doesn't matter. I mean, everything affects everything anyway, to me. Anyway, and yet it's like, so when I specifically look at this month of October, so far, my God, it's only the 14th. All right, so we're only like halfway through it, but still, tomorrow, but still, it's like, yeah, I can, in this short 2-week period of the month already, I've had a couple. I've had one massive one, which has been is a longer cycle to go through. And like for me, and we talk about the end of this 19-year cycle, it's like, well, hell no, I'm not bringing the old baggage with me and going forward. So it's like, I need to get through it. I need to get through it. I want to get through it. No, I really want to get through it because I'm like done with some certain aspects of my own life. And here we are talking about business, and this is a show about, having your business and have it be abundant and beautiful and blissful not successful. I mean, successful because, that kind of often, as I say, it often infers that we need to work at it. But when it's blissful, you are successful. You're happy. Your business is blissful. You're the people receiving your services and products and programs and whatever that is that you deliver to them are blissful. Everybody's blissful. So blissful is where it's at. And the rest just naturally falls into place. And so when I talk to you and I'm helping you and I'm teaching you different things, I come from a place of bliss because I want you to have a blissful business. So today we're going to go a little bit, more like internally, because it's key. And what better month and what better time to be talking about this when the energies are so big and so many things want to like grab our souls, for lack of a better word, but grab us and take us away. But this is the time. And I will tell you, this 19-year cycle thing has been huge for me personally. Although I didn't have my business 19 years ago, there are things that from 19 years ago that I see that are coming to an end. It's personally for me. However, a lot of when you are a service provider, particularly in whether you are providing energy healing or providing, I don't know, lug nuts for cars, is a part of your soul, is a part of your business, and you go from there. And what I have found, for me personally, it's about boundaries. And what are my boundaries and setting boundaries? And I realized I have not had great boundaries in a lot of areas. So if I don't have boundaries in my personal life, you can imagine how at times, not always, but still at times, it really overflows into my business because how we do anything is how we do everything. So it's been, for me, this month is about, well, what boundaries do I have and why do I have them and how are they going to, what are my boundaries? And I think this is a very important topic and a very important conversation to have. Oh, I just want to say that if you're listening here on Oneness Talk Radio, then go ahead. And if you want to call in, you can go ahead, call in. And the number is 517-208-1500. And we can have the conversation about it for you. I look forward to speaking with you. And if you are in the online here at Oneness Talk Radio, join in the chat line. I'm just going to go ahead and say, hey, we're here. Hey, Prophet Zen is here. How you doing? For lack of a better word, I am a New Yorker, right? How you doing? So, we have that, so we'll have that going on as well. Also, I really enjoy serving and helping in any way, shape I can. So I have gifts for you. How can you get those gifts? Well, quickest, fastest way, if you're in the States, to get the gifts is to text. You can text the word gift, GIFT, to the phone number 474747. That's it, 474747. And those are really awesome numbers, by the way. So go ahead and text the word gift, and you will get actually 4 different gifts of mine. So enjoy those. Plus, you can go to my homepage here at onenesstalkradio.com on the Prophet Zen show page, and there are some gifts there for you as well. They're not even the same gifts, but you might enjoy those as well. So I just want to make sure you know that. And if you feel like chatting and having conversation, you can step into the Zen zone here and get a mini clarity call. And we can help you with what's going on in your business, whether it's related to today's topic or any topic that affects you and your business. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. So there we go. So back to the energies and finishing strong when you take it from you. And what do you want to do for you, or who do you want to be when you want to finish strong? I go through an exercise which is pretty not so easy to do. I mean, it's not so easy to do verbally. It's called the identity iceberg exercise, and I take that from the iceberg and from the Titanic, because when you look at what the ship saw, it was this iceberg, but what sunk the ship was not the top of it. It was the fact that that was only 10% that they were showing the world, if you will, that the iceberg shows the world. It was at 90%, which is, much larger and much more voluminous and much more clearly dangerous than what's on top. And that's what we kind of do as well a lot. What we show the world oftentimes, well, what the world can perceive, let's put it that way. What the world can easily perceive is only 10% of who we really are. And that 10% is a result of, it's the be and the do. I had talked about be, do, have in the previous before, but if you're new to the show, or if you just need a reminder, because we all need reminders. I talk about a lot of stuff all over, because every time you hear it, you're going to be in a different place. And because you're going to be in a different place, you're going to glean something differently from it. And that's what the beauty of talking about is, basically basic things. Let's get some very basics. This is all about get back to basics and how to have a beautifully, joyfully, blissful business with ease and without overwhelm, so that you can make the greatest, biggest impact that you're here to do. So anyway, the identity iceberg, it really comes from this be, do, have formula. And I'm a numbers gal, and I love everything to do with numbers. And formula, even though it's be, do, have, it still can relate down to a number. So how does that work? Well, it's the be and the do. What's the be and the do? Well, who are you being? In other words, that's your internal stuff, right? That's the internal you, the be. Who are you being? Are you being the person you want to be? Are you expressing yourselves fully? Are you allowing yourself fully? And this is where the boundaries comes in, because, and I was talking to that, I've had my own boundary issues lately, which I've been rectifying and putting into place. And it's like boundaries. We all need to know, what is that boundary, and why is this important? Because it's not that's like a boundary that you're holding somebody out and keeping somebody at bay and everything else. Not at all. Not at all. But the boundary is it goes back to acknowledging who you are as an individual, whether it's your meat suit version of you here today, or your soul's version of you. Every soul has boundaries. And it's so interesting, because it wasn't until this week where this whole message came to me personally. So that's about the being. And so what are your boundaries? I mean, how far can somebody go? And again, I bring this up as business owners, because we're talking a lot about profit zen, which is money. And that can really, really have an impact when you think about it, right? Ooh, gosh, I'm sorry. I hope I'm not talking too loud. I'm just looking at the monitor here, and the monitor seems to be saying that I'm pretty loud. That's my Macy getting comfortable. Right now, she has no boundaries, and that's okay. So when I talk about boundaries, it's like, we give, but, we need to receive as well, which means we need to receive money, because that's how the world transacts right now. All right, great. Thank you. Thank you from letting me know that I'm not talking too loud for those that came in. I appreciate that. So it's like we need to appreciate and receive, right? You cannot, and I love this correlation to the giving and the receiving. You can take a breath out, but at some point, if you don't take a breath in, you will die. And if you breathe in, and at some point you don't breathe out, you will die. So it's the yin and the yang, right? It's like the yin and the yang. It's like, the in and the out, the flow, the ebb and the flow. Like the tide comes in, tide goes out. I don't know, I'm going to do with my dog. Get over here, Momo. Get over here, Macy. Be a good girl. Thank you for bearing. She's very cute. Poor dog's had like no interaction. I think that's why she's a little bit bored. She's on my lap now. Anyway, it's like, so it's the yin and the yang, the in and the out, like the flow of the water. I'm such a water person, and I live by the water. I'm so blessed to live by the water, but everything is flow. Everything is flow in and flow out, in and out. Sometimes high tide, right? We had high tide. Oh my gosh, we had these crazy winds this past week, like 3 days of over 30 mile an hour sustained winds. So, that also made an impact. So sometimes the tide's a little bit higher for high tide than at other times, but it's all about in and out, in and out, in and out. Give, receive, give, receive, give, receive. So we can give, and that's why when we're talking about the being, and we need to also receive. And that's why, this whole boundary thing is very important, because at what point will we give, give, give? And I understand this is not for everybody, but for those who it is an issue for which I know this is quite a lot of people. But for this, think about it. At what point are you putting a boundary? At what point do you say that, all right, I'm giving, but now I also need to receive? And in context of serving people and with your gifts and your product, services, and programs, at what point do you say, all right, yeah, but now you need to pay me for it? Right? I mean, it's just the energy exchange. It's the energy exchange. The Shakti. It's just the energy exchange between two beings. And again, I know that I'm talking just for me, because this is what's been coming up for me in this October, and where I have been actually going through my own dark night of the soul, which is fine. I went through it earlier this year too, and that's fine. It's all good. It's all learning. I don't worry about this anymore, and because it's part of what we're supposed to here to do and unfold. And this is October, and the energies are so big. Of course, if you've been listening to any of the programs on the Oneness Talk Radio here, it's like, the energies are so big. And this 19-year, I'm telling you, it's the 19-year cycle thing that's like really, really been not bugging me, but it's like, that's it. It's just my focus. My focus has been like, well, I'm ending this cycle on a high note, because I sure as hell am not taking it to the next 19-year cycle. And that's it. So that's where my focus has been and is, because that's it. Because I'm done with some of the stuff that's been going on for 19 years. When I think about it, it's like crazy. But it's true. So it's all right. But it's like, yeah, it's time. It's done. Put it away. Ready to move on. And go where I'm supposed to go, and help who I'm supposed to help, and serve how I'm supposed to serve, without this baggage, without this 19-year baggage. And that's just how I look at it. This monkey on my back, or whatever it was. So October is the first beginning of it's the perfect time to begin to look at, what baggage. What is your 19-year cycle been? What are the gifts? And the gifts, it's always gifts. Oh my gosh, I have so many gifts, because I'll tell you the biggest gift that I'm finally getting is boundaries, and understanding that I have boundaries, that this is what is acceptable. I know judgment, but this is what I find acceptable. I will work this way with you, which worked for me. And if it doesn't work for you, then that's fine. Then perhaps I'm not the right one for you that way. Or even personally, it's like, these are my boundaries. I will be treated this way. I will be acted this way, and I'll be treated this way, and this is or not. No judgment, but if how I want to be treated does not come into alignment with how I'm being treated by a certain person, I love them, I bless them, and I wish them well. But I still need to stay true to me. And I think that's what boundaries are. True to you, true to the real you. The real you. And that's why we're focusing here on this be, do, have, and just the be. Right? It's like, we gotta, we don't gotta do anything, clearly. I invite you to consider, it's like, what are these things? For me too, I think it's just I've had this double whammy, because I turned 59 in July. And I realize I'm now in my 60th year, and I have several friends who have told me that their life actually did not begin until their age of 60. You know what? I'm fine with that. In fact, I welcome it. I'm on board. I'll go there. I embrace it, and I'm ready. So because I know that I'm turning 60 next year, and I'm in my 60th year on this earth plane here, that I'm like, damn it. I was like, it's now or never, right? It's now or never. It goes back to not now, when, not you, who. It's like, I didn't know. I was like, and this is what I want to do because I'm ready. I'm ready to start the best years of my life. And I'm not waiting till July when I actually turn 60. I'm in my 60th year. So it's like, that's it, this whole year. I'm taking no more crap. I'm taking no more nonsense. And but from even by myself, I mean, from others and myself too, it's like, this is it, because now I realize I need to have certain boundaries which have never been in place before. And the reason why I bring this up is because I've gotten much better for it. I still absolutely barter with people. I mean, when it comes to working with people, I work with people, and I work with people however it works for the both of us, right? Because it's that energy exchange. Excuse me, just taking a sip of water. And yet, a lot of times, I give, you know, again, I'm not that I'm giving a verse, clearly I'm not, but I realize at some point that I get depleted, and I find when it's not an equal exchange, and if we're not both gaining, gleaning, growing from the interaction of what we're doing together, then there's an off balance. Right? There's an off balance, and that's when there's an off balance. Either way, I mean, one time, again, I'll get in a second, but if there's an off balance, then we don't have this equal energy exchange, right? There's somebody who's giving way more and someone who's receiving way more, and it's just out of balance. It's not in alignment. And I think it was for those situations that I have found, I was like, no, this is just not working for me. And ultimately, it's not working for them either, right? Because if it's out of balance, it's out of balance. Even if you are on the receiving end of the good, I'm saying, yeah, and I had one relationship where I was like, the deal was that I would coach them and I would work with them to get them where they want to go, and they would provide this service for me, which works fine, except for the fact that they started not keeping their appointments. They started doing a lot of things, but they were still helping me, which was fine, but I just couldn't do it. I was like, this is no longer working. I will be a regular client of yours, and I will pay you for your services, but this is clearly not working because you're not getting the benefit. And in coaching, I find in any kind of space like coaching, I mean, consulting, but in any kind of area where you are advising somebody. And it's so easy for us to just advise, right? And I do that. My husband said another story. I digress, but let me finish this and I'll tell you that, but which has nothing to do with business. But, when we're in that capacity, if the person receiving that benefit is not paying money for it, they're at a disadvantage. We're both at a disadvantage in some ways, depending how it goes. I mean, I've had it work out fine for a few times, but there was just an equal exchange of actual services. But even still, it's tricky, I have found in my experience. It's a disadvantage because a lot of times then they don't take it as serious. They're not seriously committed, because that financial commitment, when you make that financial commitment and you putting down money, which when you put that money down, when you invest that money for yourself to get coaching, apologies for the phone there, you have a different level of commitment. You have money which you may not even have enough. You may have gone like, you may have overextended yourself to put this money down. So now you're going to make for damn sure that you're going to show up and you're going to do things. And when you put that money down, that is the first step of being committed to you and your commitment to yourself and to your growth and for doing better. And that's why I've only in a couple cases now, I consider bartering with people because I just know. I mean, I know what happens, and I know for my own sake. It's like for web services or something like that. Yes, I can coach a web company, and they can and everything else, and they can also then help me with my website. That works out well. However, I've actually even changed it now where we can agree on a rate, whatever the rate is, and one person pays the first person that rate, and then the other person pays that person. We both pay each other that rate. In other words, so there is still an exchange of money, even though they kind of, in your business books and everything else, they kind of like eliminate each other out because one's a gain, one's a whatever payout. But yeah, it's just that, yeah, I'm paying this money. So it's the investment in you, and it's the most importantly, which is the commitment to you and willing to put money out there, particularly if you're having challenges with money in your business and having challenges with meeting your bills easily and consistently and having way more than enough so that you can continue to grow and expand your impact in the world simply and easily. And so it's just think about it. How often do you do things because they're free? How many networking events maybe you go to? How many groups do you participate in? How many things do you do for free? Now again, you can say, well, Lee, you give away all this free stuff all the time. It's like, well, isn't that, aren't you kind of like contradicting what I do? And again, you're listening to me, Lee Munch. You're listening on Profit Zen here at onenesstalkradio.com. Welcome. I'm happy you're here. You can call in and we can have step into my Zen zone and have a mini clarity call. And I've got all sorts of free gifts for you. So welcome. I'm happy you're here. And how can I serve you? So what we're talking about today is, in fact, the big energies of October. We're in the full moon energy about releasing what's no longer serving, which is great for the 19-year cycle. And right before we go into Mercury retrograde, and the theme for Q4 here is finishing strong, and the theme for October is finishing strong. And how we're talking about finishing strong today is by you. About you and boundaries, and this is coming from it's totally coming from my own personal stuff that's been going on. But boundaries, and when do you set boundaries? When do you not set boundaries? But we always need to have a boundary, right? That's our protection. You have an aura that is around you that protects you. We need to have a space, personal space, or however you want to call it, around us for saying, yeah, this is acceptable, and stepping over this boundary line is not acceptable. It's not without, and again, we're not doing this on a judgmental basis. We're not doing it, we're just saying that for me personally, this is acceptable, and that's just not going to work for me. So, and bless them and send them on their way. So that's what we're talking about. And I also started equating this to the be, do, have formula for bliss in life. It can be successful in life, for anything. Be, do, have. And it's just that, right? Who you're being, what you're doing is giving you what you got, what you have. Who you're not being, what you're not doing is giving you what you got, right? What you have. So it's very simple. And we focus this first half here. We're focusing on the being, because it all starts with our being, right? Because that's what we're thinking. That's what we're telling ourselves. This is what we're believing. And all these things comes into the being, which are our thoughts. And the being includes us being our best, if we want to be the best version of ourselves, which also then includes discernment on what is and what is not acceptable to us for us to be ideally who we want to be, which is including these boundaries, which we've been talking about. And I've gone through my own dark night, this big dark night. Okay, not so big. Yeah, big. In the grand scheme of life, it's big. My own dark night and dealing with that and wrapping around and being okay with it. being totally okay with it. I actually said, bring it on. Bring it on. We're in October. These are big energies. We're ending this 19-year cycle, and there's no way in hell I'm bringing some of the crap from the past 19 years forward. And then I'm going to be turning 60 next year, and therefore, if I'm only going to be starting my life next year, which I'm fine with, I'm not going to bring any of this nonsense with me. It's not serving me. It's not serving anybody, as a matter of fact. Well, it might be serving some people, but anyway, they can take the gifts and they can have it find someone else, I guess. But so that's what we're talking about, the being. So how are you being? And it fits so perfectly into this theme of this month. It's like, so your being, so what is the being of you, what you are doing now that you definitely want to keep going forward, that's serving you, that's helping you? Believe me, I have plenty of being that I am and who I am. And I'll give you a little side story in a minute, but being, and then what do you want to be like the rest of the year? But even at the end of 2020, in my head, I'm still thinking like, well, at the end of 2020, which for me is actually very relevant, because my mission is to positively and profitably impact 13,800 businesses by December 31st, 2020. And I've got quite a ways to go. My number is like, again, I know I'm like missing, because I don't have it written in front of me, so I either juxtapose the numbers, but it's about 9,784 people that I've been able to impact thus far up until the end of September 2019, which I love, and I'm like so happy and feel blessed, and yet I still got a lot of people in a little over a year, so anyway. Hopefully, and again, go ahead, put in the chat. It's like, yes. It's like, and I would love to know how you're being impacted, particularly if it's positive. You can go in the chat here. Leave the crap behind. Yes, you're right. Leave the crap behind. That's where we're at. It's like bottom line. Let it go. Let it go. Crap, crap in, crap out. So thank you. Thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate that. Anyway, it's like, we have the opportunity, I believe, and maybe this is why I feel so strongly about this, and maybe why I want to talk about this with you today. And it's totally off the cuff. This wasn't what I wasn't planning, but that's just what's happening in my life, and it's the perfect time to share it with you. So it's like, what crap do we want to leave behind, and understand, and thank whatever it is. I mean, I have no issues. I thank the lessons and the learnings, and thank you for the opportunity. If nothing else, thank you for the opportunity to help me realize I have no boundaries, and this is just not working. Right? I mean, that in itself is a beautiful, beautiful blessing. And it is, because it was only for the first time in my life this month, which, hello, again, 59 years old. It's like silly, really. But anyway, again, so it's like we learn this when we learn this, and it's all good, but that's it. It's like, it's like, no. But it is, this is what I'm leaving behind. And because I'm leaving behind, it's now outside my own boundaries. So thank you very much for posting that. I really appreciate that. So leave the crap behind, because that's where it belongs, right? Anyway, so that what we talked about, that's really about the be. Now, I am known as the doing coach and that's where it kind of sets me apart, because I also know that, we're on this earth plane and we got to do stuff, right? At a minimum, if you're in your human meat suit here, man, you got to pay taxes, right? You got to pay taxes. That requires money, which is the whole point of the show here, right? And there are things that we have to do. And we can be, many of us are, I am. I'm spiritually guided. I'm always spiritually guided. And yet, on the other hand, there's certain things I have to do. Like, for instance, we had technical difficulties, and the show didn't actually get started until probably like 4:02 officially. But again, this is what I got to do every 4:02 New York time, so 1 p.m. Pacific. The show must go on, so to speak. So every Monday at 1 p.m. I'm here. I'm here talking to you. This is something that I've got to do. And yes, when I talk to you, and even sometimes it's really mundane, as I say, I mix the magical with the mundane. I teach the left-sided business stuff in a very soft-hearted, gentle, right-brain manner. But I still need to do, right? I need to be talking to you. I need to get on the radio. I need to, get to my show. There's certain things I have to do. And particularly when we come from a very, I guess, spiritually minded and intuitively guided mindset, sometimes it's easy for us to get stuck in the being guidedness. And sometimes the best thing to do when we're in that, when we don't know what to do, is just do something, anything. Because I believe if you just do something, you just take a step, right? I mean, you've heard me say this before. You take one step towards the universe will take 1,000 steps towards you. You take one step, and then the rest of the steps will show up in one way, shape, or form. And sometimes we need to be proactive. I like to have a theme. I'm organized, and I try to keep everything organized. And the reason why, for me, this organization is important is because I have different venues in which I'm sharing my teachings, my words, my heart and soul when it comes to helping you have an awesome business. And because I know I'm doing, and so I like to keep it organized, so therefore I can keep my head around it. Now where it goes is, who knows? But at least I have the topic. I know what I'm doing, although today was completely, I don't know, I didn't even look at it, but I'm telling you, I'm sure it's probably within the one, because I tend to do this also, what seems right at the time, and I get the download and I put the topic, so I'm sure I'm still on the topic here for my organization. So I call that, I'm going to digress a little bit here, I call that tight, loose culture. I do actually like football and watching football games. But any sports, when you think about sports, any kind of sports event, right? Depending on the sport, but like that's why football is a really good example, and basketball is a good example. A sport where tight loose is that, right? You've got boundaries, you've got the court, you've got the field, whatever it is, but there's always boundaries around everything around it. And in some sports, any person can go anywhere within that playing field, and they're fine. As long as staying within the playing field, they go up, they go down, they go in, they go up, they go up, they can shoot baskets, or they can get goals, or whatever they do, or they can stay back and be catching things and whatever it is, right? I mean, they can be doing anything within those parameters of that thing. But once you step over the boundary, then then you're out. And then there's something to do. So it's kind of a tight, loose culture. That's how I kind of think that. That's how I run my business. That's how I help my clients run their business. They just need to know where they're going, why they want to go there. And I'm not saying sometimes it doesn't change. Yes, it does. And sometimes it doesn't change, but you have this phenomenal opportunity, which is going to actually help you expansionally move forward. So, of course, you take advantage of it. There are things. But I'm just talking about that tight, loose culture. Oh, and I digressed. Because when I talk about the giving away freely thing, back to boundaries. And when are you just joyously giving away freely, and when are you giving away freely and it's beginning to overstep what should be your boundary? I'm going to tell you the story. And like for me, and talking about why I give away so much free stuff, hang on a sec. Last week, a little over a week ago, my husband and I went to, well, actually it was back to sports, but long story short, we went to go see these two guys who do a morning talk show, because they happen to be doing it on live, not too far from where we were. So we decided we're going to go, and we did. And it was like I was excited to be there, and everything else. And I found myself in this conversation with this man, and as life would have it, right? So I found myself in this conversation with man. His name was Mike, and we were talking kids, and I don't even know how it went, what went, where, when, or how. It was like, I don't know, because sometimes that's how it happens. And he was telling me and how he's married, and he's got 2 stepchildren who now think that whose stepfather has been out of the picture for like 5 years, and Now that he bought a house, all of a sudden, I don't know, well, family dynamics and drama and everything else, whatever else. And I don't even know what I said to him, but I just kind of, we were just talking, and whatever I was saying to him was comforting to him. And I don't know, I seriously don't know what I said to him, because it was a download. It was a download, and I just kind of like what I'm doing right now. It's just, I just said, and mostly, I guess I listened, and mostly, and it was the most beautiful, it was such a beautiful interchange, and it had nothing to do with businesses at all, right? But it was just a person who needed help, and we wound up together, and the opportunity presents itself, and I was able to help him, and by helping him, I helped myself, right? Because when anybody can feel good about doing what they're doing, and feel better, that's it. For me, it's like, as long as you feel better as a result of listening to me and talking with me, and it's going to do something for you, then you're going to feel better, that you can do something better in your life, then I've done my job. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. And that's why I give away a lot of free things, because I can. I'm very blessed that I can. I have so much available that I'm able to do that I can actually give to you as my gift. And gifting is fine, as long as we're also able to receive gifts. So that's it. So I do want to finish up here. I mean, but the B is so important. But I do want to finish up. While we have our time left on that doing, which finish strong is a lot about being strong and feeling strong, and yet it's also doing strong. And that's why last week we talked about the topic of the one thing. What is that one thing that if you had this in your business by the end of the year, it would just make you feel so awesome? It would like rock your business. It's something. It doesn't, what is that one thing? And so kind of getting back on that. And it's like, so what do you need to do? And what do you need to do that one thing? And at the same time, consider, as we were talking about the being, what do you need to do to be who you want to be? If you want to be someone else, I mean, and again, our purpose of here is continually to expand and grow, right? So you always want to be somebody else, because you want to be that more expansive you. You want to be the best version of you now, and the best version of you, and your expansive best version of you. So we're always expanding and growing, hopefully. If not, then we're shrinking and contracting. But you're listening to the show. You're listening to the show. You listen to the radio show station. So you're continually growing and expanding. So there's going to be new us's related to that. There's just going to be new us's, right? And that's who we becoming. So what do we need to do to be that person? What would that person do on a daily basis? And again, where I find when I'm working with a lot of my clients, it's the doing where they fall down, because they don't know what to do. They know how to meditate. They want to meditate. They want to get guidance, and that's all good. But sometimes you got to take a step or 2 or 3 or 10, and as the guidance will come and the clarity will come, and you'll know exactly what to do. And then it's all going to fall into place, because you're actually taking action. It's like taking action, and it's what are the actions that we need to take that's going to help, which we may or may not necessarily like to do, which is why we want to definitely get to the place, if you're not now there, soon, as soon as you can, where the stuff that you would rather not do, you get someone to do it for you. And that still takes money, right? So it's so easy to get caught up. It's like, well, I can't take money and everything else with the money, but to effectively come, and I do mean effectively on all different levels, because when we're stressed about money, we're just not going to be as good as we can possibly be, because we have that still nagging thing behind us. And when we have those no concerns about that, and everything's flowing in, and like no problem, we don't have to think about it, well then we can respond, and we can give so much more of ourselves freely, right? So it's that money. And so understanding what's going to help you get to that place where you are not alone in your business, where you have people helping you, people who are way much better at those jobs than you ever want to be, or could be, or should be. And I will tell you, my own business, that's when it came down to the technology. Can I do it? Yeah. technically, I can. I don't do it well, and I don't do it fast. And I don't like it. I hate it. As a matter of fact, I hate it. And it's burdensome. And because it's burdensome, it's burdensome, and I just don't like to do it. But it took me a lot to get to the place where I just had to suck it up, sweetheart, and just hire someone to do that. And then I found out in the end is that what I thought, and I've kind of talked about this a little bit in past shows. It's like, I shouldn't be doing it because it's not the best use of my skills, and it's therefore not the best use of my time. So any amount of 1 hour of a person's paid time would take me, I don't know, 5 hours, 10 hours, sometimes days, I swear to God, to figure it out. And like, that's not the best use of my time. So that's what it is. And it's not best in my use of my services and my skills and my gifts and who I'm supposed to be serving. So I invite you to think, take this all in, because it's all about, and this is where the doing comes, because when we're actually doing, yes, we can be being, and we can be thinking, and we can be meditating and manifesting, but there's no faster way to manifest or bring into and manifest that which we want until we start taking steps towards what we want. It just speeds up the whole thing. So what are the things that we can do and do on a daily basis, and seriously consider what it's going to take for you to have someone help you with those things that have to be done in your business that are not your gifts, not your forte, and you don't even like doing them because you don't like doing them, and they're not your gifts, and they're not your forte, you don't do them. Like money and managing the money. It's the big one, right? And if this is not your comfort zone, you can help somebody take care of the day-to-day stuff of what goes on with the money in your business, but you don't need to do anything clearly, but I would still invite you to still make peace with the money and the numbers. They're numbers. And numbers will have meaning, and numbers, so there's so many different ways you can integrate the spiritual with the mundane too, about the magical with the mundane, and integrate. All this comes together. And that's who I am, and that's why I'm here to serve, because I just look at everything like everything. As I said, I love everything numbers. I love astrology. I love numerology. And the numbers in your business just make your life simple. That's it. It makes it simple. And when it's simple, it becomes easy. And when it's simple and easy, you are making a massive impact. You are making more than enough money to help you effectively, expansionally grow and help and serve the world. And takes away that stress of it, which is a lot of impact at this point in time. And it also gives you the freedom to do what you want, where you want to do it, and how you want to do it. And I'm not saying money's freedom, dollar per dollar type of thing, but it's just what it can do. And we look about what it can do, and we look about the Shakti exchange, we look about that love exchange, the energy exchange, the equality, the yin and the yang, the tide, the in and the out. The money comes in, the money goes out. The money goes in, the money goes out. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. You take the breath in, you take the breath out. You breathe. You're taking your breath, you're giving your breath. You're taking money, you're giving money. It's just all one beautiful energy ball. So, what are the things you can do which is not going to interfere of the value of who you are and what you can be to the world? In other words, so not like giving all of your services for free. And again, if you are listening here, we are at Oneness Talk Radio, or we are on Prophet Zen. The one thing is the right mindset. It is a lot of mindset. You're right. You need the right mindset. But mindset also includes appreciating us, and that's what we're talking about. For the most of the show, we've been talking about boundaries, and I guess we're talking about boundaries is because I had to deal with my own boundaries this past week or so, and so it's kind of the forefront of my mind, and it totally goes along with the whole 19-year cycle thing and the whole huge energies of that we're having here in October. But that's also a doing thing, right? You got to set your boundary, and then you got to stick to it. You got to take the actions that are going to keep you within your own boundaries, right? And so what are the things? And so what are the things you can do? What are the things that you can do to allow yourself to begin to make peace with whatever aspect of numbers or money that you must, so that you can finish strong? And I promise you, I can't do it right now. It's really hard for me to show. It's just when I show it on the piece of paper, when we see how simple and really ultimately easy it is to do certain things when it comes to your 5 profit makers, that it really, really makes it simple. Because once you know those 5 profit makers, which is your magical marketing, your enlightened enrollment, your faithful followers, which includes, on average, how much do people invest with you, and how much and how often do people invest with you on average, and ultimately your peaceful profits, and understanding what goes into those profits that would make them peaceful for you, and that if you pay yourself over what's left in your business, then that's not a profit. Right? And just because you're bringing revenue into your business, that's not a profit. So those kinds of things. So what is one thing that you can decide that this is important enough for you to commit to, so that you can finish strong? Because you finishing strong only helps the world, and God knows the world needs you. God knows. And 2020, it's, I feel like the shit is just beginning. Excuse me, I don't know if I can say that or not, but I feel like the beep is just hitting the fan, and next year we're going to be in for a doozy, depending on where you are and where you're living. But as long as you have a presence here on this third dimensional earth plane, it's going to be helpful to do certain things. So what is that? What is one thing that will make the most difference? When I say that, when I ask people, that business owners, that question, they generally say to me, more customers, more clients, more patients, more students, more whatever, depending on your industry, right? More clients. But the thing is that might be fine, yet if every time you bring in a client, it's ultimately costing you money in one way, shape, or form. In other words, it's not a profitable relationship, then bringing in more clients is going to make you have more not profitable. So this is the do part of it. And I understand that we've been focusing on the be, because the be is very, very important. Again, thank you for listening. We're almost coming to a close here, so I want to leave that with you. But while we're coming to a close, remind you that you're listening to me, Lee Munch, here on OnenessTalkRadio.com, and you're listening to the Path to Profits Then. And I'm so thrilled to be here and serving you. And my only heart of heart intention is that you can take something away from this show that you can put and use in your business immediately, so that you can make a greater impact in the world and do it profitably, which means you have more than enough money and more than enough time to enjoy life. And again, I do have these free gifts for you. You can, if you're in the US, you can text the word gift, G-I-F-T, gift, to 474747. And there's 4 things that you can do there. I welcome you to take them and enjoy them. As we've had a couple calls calling in, which is awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. You can call in. We still have time for you to call in at 517-208-1500. And if you're catching us on OnenessTalkRadio.com, you can go to the online chat room. I'm here. I'm listening. I'm watching. So I thank a couple of people who've been interacting with the chat today. One more thing that I haven't mentioned, and I would love to mention, is that if you serve the business community in any way, shape, or form, and or you are a business and you have a story to share about finding your way to your profits then, therefore on the step towards your business bliss, you can reach out to me. And the way you can do this, and if you can't get the text, the gift to GIFT to 474747, and you are unable to call in at 517-208-1500, but you have a question, or if you want to possibly be a guest on my show, because I'm loving having guests, you can email me as well to support, SUPPORT, at businessblissacademy.com. Support at businessblissacademy.com. So any way you need to reach me, reach me. That's all I can say, is that I'm here to serve, I'm here to help, and I'm here to help make your business better and more, make your business blissful, even if it's just a little bit more blissful, so you can make a greater impact in the world. So again, I thank you. I thank you for joining me today as we've been talking about the be, do, have, and a little bit more versus with the being, and focusing primarily on boundaries. But that does mean we have to give ourselves boundaries from ourselves too, right? I mean, boundaries are boundaries. What is and what is not acceptable for how you're being and what you're doing, and as well as for how others are being and doing with you as well. And just embracing that and understanding that and living this, because this is the time. It's October, and it's like, I don't know about you, but for God's sakes, I seriously am not taking this stuff with me in the next 19 years. So I am so more than happy to release it, be done with it. Thank you, new full moon here, to give me the opportunity to really release it and all like that. Those kinds of things, because we want to finish strong, because we want to be empowered, and that's what this does. And the Path of Prophet Zen gives you the ability to be empowered in your business, because you have more control and you have know what more is going on, and you're combining your spiritual gifts with your physical gifts and sharing it, and you're sharing it in a way that's in a powerful way, because you're understanding what your boundaries are, and you're open to the exchange of money coming in, money coming out, but mostly money coming in for you.